So you're ready for it. So I made a post asking if anybody had any ideas for videos because I'm bored, and unfortunately it's like almost 2 a.m. on a Friday morning, so everybody's probably asleep, ready to go to their jobs. So here's the deal. If this does not indicate boredom for a political channel, I don't know what does. But this is one of my favorite games, by far. If you like Star Wars, obviously you'll be very amused, but beside the point, it's called Sabacc. So these dice right here, if you watch Star Wars and you look at the Millennium Falcon, and on Han's ship, what would be, I guess, a rear view mirror, if you will, on the Millennium Falcon, he has two dice that are hanging off of it that in The Last Jedi, Luke takes. And that's what these are. They're gambling dice. Okay, that's what you need for this game. They're metal. This pad is not necessary by any means, but it's cool. The place I got the cards, which are these. This is a Sabacc deck. And the mat and the dice I got from a store on Etsy. I want to say the name is Hyperspace. But I'll put the link in below just for shits and giggles if you want to, you know, check them out. Their stuff's reasonably priced, and usually if you put something in your cart and leave it there, they do a lot of, like, leave behind discounts and stuff, like, you know, check out with my shit, blah, blah, blah. So that's where you'll get those things. Deck, dice, mat. This little guy, which is awesome and amazing, I'm missing 4 of them because USPS is fucking retarded. This, as you can tell, I don't do these types of videos very often. Anyway, it's a bronze credit. Okay, so the smaller, bronze is less, gold is more, silver is more. So these are credits. They're 3D printed by a buddy of mine that I met online, and he made them for me. So good luck getting this. But these are the credits, so it's silver, gold, and bronze, like I said. Obviously, you can tell which one's worth more and which one's not. They're really cute. They're really cool. They're really cute. He did a great job. I'm sure he found a file online. So if you have a 3D printer and you want to hunt for that file and print this shit, be my guest. So otherwise, good luck. So here's how you play Sabacc, right? There's three rounds. There is the dealing round, trading round, and the dice round. Simple as that. When James and I play, we play, it basically minimum 3 rounds you have to play. But we do, I think we do 5 or 7, because the point of this game is to get to 23. So these are the cards. I'll show you some of them so it makes sense. There we go. So these are positive numbers, first of all. The colors are positive numbers. And the black ones, which there are less black cards, which look like this. If you get a 23 negative, is actually better than a 23 positive. Or if the hands come out, and I'll explain it. If, say, I have a 19 positive, and James has a 19 negative, he'd win. It wouldn't be a tie, because positive or negatives are better than positives. So here's the deal. This is how I know these cards look funky, right? So let's see. So they look like that. They've got, like, I guess, tally marks for the back and squares. So the tally mark is considered 1. Okay, so this is literally 1, but you can see there'd be like 8 kind of thing. The squares, I'll put this back. The squares are 5 and 10. I want to say, yeah, the open square is 10, and the solid square is 5, so this card's 15. So if I had these 2 cards, I would have 16. So that's how that works. So in the in the dealing round, if you will. You pick a dealer, blah, blah, blah. You put in a blind. So we'll do this. Do 2 people here. And there's also a Sabacc pot, which is basically like for anyone who plays Monopoly, parking lot, what the fuck's it called? Parking, okay? Where you put money on the parking spot, and then if someone lands on it, they get it. Sabacc pot's similar in a sense that you win it differently, obviously, but that's what the Sabacc pot is. James and I start out with 2 silvers, just so it's worth something. Because 1 bronze, this is how this works. I'm just showing you for shits and giggles, because like I said, you can't buy this stuff. Let's see. So, 2 bronze equal 1 gold. I want to say it's 4. Yeah, 4 bronze equal 1 silver. So 2 gold would equal 1 silver. Blah, blah, blah. So anyway, so you put in your blind, if you will. Pick the dealer, and the dealer deals 2 cards to each person, okay? Obviously, you don't see these. These are, you're not showing your cards to anybody, okay? So my hand is, damn it. So then we go into, basically, you can, at this point, you can raise, you can check, you can bet, and you can stay. It's kind of like poker. So, wow, this is funny. So my cards equal a whole 2, okay? So if you, I'm really good at betting and stuff, so I would probably bet something on that for fun. This hand has 2 open squares, which is 20, because they're 10 and 10. A solid square, which is 5, so it's 25. Plus 2 is 27. This hand's 27. This is actually called bomb out. Doesn't mean the game's over by any means. It just means you have a shitty fucking hand, and you need to go negative, or you need to trade out cards, which is the next round. So let's say both of us stay, okay? Then what happens is you can do a few things here. On the trading round, you either trade out a card, okay? I'll trade out a card and get a new one. Or you can keep your cards, not do anything. And this is how we play, and this is in some Sabacc rules and some not. You can take one of the cards in your hand that you want to keep. So for example, I would probably keep this one because it's 12. And that can go either way because it's the middle of 23 basically. So obviously not middle, but you get the point. And you can put this out and show it. So your hand's like this. So you put this card down and you show it, and it stays on the table for the entire game. So whatever you have in your hand, you have to remember what's on the table to add to, or minus to your hand, so you don't screw yourself. So let's say that person did that. Let's say James did that. So then what he could do with this card is he can trade it, or he can keep it, and that's about it. So let's say he trades it. So now he wouldn't show this card. This card's down. He's actually got 22. So he's got a kick-ass hand right now. Okay? I traded a card, didn't put anything down, and I have 12. So, what happens next is the dice round. On this dice, they're identical. They have different symbols. Let me try and find a symbol that's the same so it makes sense. Okay. Like, see how those are the same picture, lack of a better term? When you roll the dice, if they roll and it's the same picture, lack of a better term, it's you have to swap your card. Everybody has to swap their cards out. If you roll the dice and they don't match, then the game continues. So let's roll the dice. So they're different. So we move on. Then what do? You go back to the beginning and you go to the betting round. Say James is playing. He wants to bet. Let's say he throws in a gold for fun and a bronze, trying to throw me off a little bit. I've got a whole 12. I can either fold, which you could have actually done in the beginning, I can either fold, match the bet, or raise the bet. So I'm just going to match the bet for fun. And because I'm a betting woman, throw in a silver. And he throws in a silver. So that's the pot, right? So then the next round comes, the trading round. He decides to stay. He's not going to do anything with his cards. I, however, do not like my cards, right? But for shits and giggles, I am going to, again, these are in my hand, I'm going to put down the 1 for fun. And I'm going to draw a card. So, because you can always have 2 cards, when you have, you can end up with like 5 or 6 cards or 10 cards. I mean, it just depends on how many rounds you do and how badly you want to fuck yourself. But you don't always have to have 2 cards. You can have 1, you can have 10 or 15, whatever. So now what I have is that's 10, 11, and that's a 5. So that's 15 plus 5 is 20. So I have 21 in my hand. I have 21. So these cards are in my hand, not shown. The 1 is shown. His 12 is shown. And his 10 is not shown. So then we go on to the dice round. We roll. Oh shit. How funny. This is it's called a shift, is when the dice are the same. So what ends up happening, I have to throw my cards and discard them. The ones I had in my hand. The ones that stay on the table stay there the entire game. So you can screw yourself this way. So I have to get rid of my cards. He has to get rid of his cards. He had 1 card. He doesn't have to show it. Again, this is his hand. And then since I had to discard 2 cards, I get 2 cards. So now what I have is 5, 10, 14 is what my hand is. James's hand, on the other hand, is 15, 16, 17, wait, 15, it's a little early, 15 and 5, that's 20. So he's got a good hand again, butthead. So, he has, what did I say? He has 20, yeah, he has 20, I have 10, 14, so I'm not in a good position here. So then this is the 3rd round, so we do the same thing. Say we bet, he bets, like you trade off. Like, he bet last time, now it's my turn to bet. And he raises me a gold, I put a gold. He puts a silver, I put a silver. You can fold, or you can bet, or you can raise. And he's done betting, so I'm done betting. Now we go to, again, the trading round. So he stays, because he's got an excellent hand. I decide that since I have, what do I have, 14? I'm going to discard the 7 and pick up a 5. So now I have a really shitty hand, which is 12. So, again, these are in my hand. So, what happens at this point, because it's the 3rd round, like I said, James and I go to, like, I think 7 rounds, just so the pot gets bigger and you have more of a chance to get better cards and better numbers and everything else. But since it's the 3rd round, and that's the minimum amount of rounds you should play, period, for sure, 100% of this game, what can happen now is, how does that work? You don't do dice. Let me see. I know, I forgot. So you do the trade out. Okay, so during the trading is when you have to either call Alderaan, which ends the game, or you have to continue. So since I just swapped out my card, say he said Alderaan, okay, because he didn't do anything with his cards, and the shift happened, and we both got new cards or whatever, and he got this card, he can say Alderaan, which ends the game, and then I can do whatever I want, which is what I did. I turned in my 7 and got a fucking 5. So that's the end of my turn. So now we have to flip our cards, and whoever has closest to 23 positive or negative wins. So he obviously has 20, so he would win because I have 5, 10, 12. So then he'd win this, right? Now let's say, for shits and giggles, okay? And then we're going to end this video because that's basically how you play this game. Let's say for fun that I bust out, meaning I have over 23 or over negative 23, so like I have negative 24. And he calls Alderaan. You never call Alderaan unless you obviously think you're going to win the game. Now, I bomb out. When I bomb out, I actually have to add up what's in here in the betting pot and put 10% of it into the Sabacc pot. Okay? And that's how this pot gets bigger, is when you bomb out. Now, if he had 23 and I had 19, say that, and he calls Alderaan, and it is a 23, and he wins, since it's 23 or a negative 23, he gets the pot, the betting pot, plus the Sabacc pot. When you get 23 in one direction or the other and you win, you get the Sabacc pot. And then what we usually do is throw in another one of our silvers, you know, so the person who loses even more money at that point. But say, so that's how that could happen with Alderaan. Now, if you call Alderaan, and like say I called Alderaan, he had 20, I had 12. Say I'm stupid and I call Alderaan. I lose, obviously, because he's got 20. If that's the case, he gets the pot, obviously, and I have to pay 10% into the Sabacc pot because I called Alderaan. And I'm the one who ended the game and thought I won. And since I lost and I called Alderaan, 10% goes into the Sabacc pot. Hopefully that makes sense. But these credits are pretty fucking cool. I like these. I love them, actually. He did an awesome job. That's what they look like. They've got a shine to them, too. So anyway, I will put in the description below the place where you can buy the cards, the dice, and the mat. I believe it's Hyperspace is the Etsy store, and it's, like I said, it's fairly cheap. And like I said, put it in your cart or like it and add it to a list, like a favorites list, and they'll send you coupons within like 24 hours to check out, like 10% off or something. So don't buy it right off the bat is my suggestion. But yeah, so that's Sabacc for all you Star Wars fans out there. I love this game, and this mat is basically purely decorative, because I would sit here, he would sit here, and you know, this would be like, you know, the table where I'd put cards down if I want to. This is where where we put the chips, but it's basically dealer stuff. We put the chips because we will lose track of how many rounds we're on, so we'll actually use poker chips, and we'll put the poker chips down until we get to the 7th round. Then we know when we get to the 7th round that we can call Alderaan, or we can continue the game. If nobody calls Alderaan, you can do like 15, 25, 30 rounds, whatever you want. Until someone calls Alderaan, the game doesn't end. So we at least do 7 rounds. So we put the little chips here. And then obviously this little center here would be the pot. And then these are the discard piles. Be my discard pile, I sit there. His discard pile, I sit there. He sits there. So anyway, that's Sabacc. And I love this fucking game a lot. And I really don't have much else to say at this point. Oh, and the carrier that he did this in too, it was 3D printed too. So it's like a whole set situation, whatever file he used. He's fucking great. He's a sweet guy too. But since USPS sucks like a bunch of faggots, they're so fucking useless. They screw so much shit up for my business, it pisses me off. I could go into a whole story about USPS and what I've done to them, dealing with my senators, and USPS headquarters knows who the fuck I am now. Literally knows me by name in DC because I complained so badly and got 4 senators involved, 2 of the Missouri senators, Schmidt and Hawley, and then Moran and the hell's that other guy's name? The other guy from that's next door to us, Kansas, sign on to a letter, Senate letter, to DeJoy's office, basically asking them what the fuck their problem is. And these are metal. These are pretty heavy. Long story short, USPS wrote them back, obviously. But my letter that I wrote to Senator Schmidt, actually, I didn't know this. I had to sign a waiver, basically, you know, stating that I could, you know, I'm releasing my name and shit like that, through his office so they could do it on behalf of me, and it's considered a congressional letter on behalf of a constituent. So, and I didn't really know exactly what that meant when I signed the letter, what he was going to do, but he took the letter that I wrote to him complaining about USPS in so many different ways, gave tracking numbers of how many things they fucked up, how many times they fucked my business because I had to give people courtesy credits so I didn't get shitty reviews, or I had to give full refunds, all this stuff. I mean, it was detailed as hell, and it has nothing to do with our post office. It has to do with St. Louis. St. Louis hubs are a disaster site. And so anyway, apparently that letter circulated. It not only went to USPS headquarters in DC, but then what they ended up doing is they went to my postmaster here locally, who I see all the time because I mail stuff, and like bitched at him and sent him the letter that I wrote, because it circulated USPS Missouri for sure, and sent him the letter and was like, what are you guys doing wrong down there, blah blah blah. And he's like, and he like read the letter and he's like, this doesn't mention us at all, this mentions St. Louis, like this has nothing to do with us locally. But they bitched him out, so he bitched him out, and that postmaster's gone now. I think he said fuck the post office and left, because USPS is just ridiculous. So long story short, USPS headquarters in DC know who I am, Senator Schmidt knows who I am, Holly knows who I am, Moran knows who I am, and whoever the other senator knows who I am. And that's my story with USPS. They can go fuck themselves. I hate that fucking thing. And it's like, they just raised their prices again too. Like on the 13th, July 13th, which didn't really affect me as a business person because I get discounted rates. And when I was mailing stuff recently, the amounts didn't really change all that much. If it was pennies, so it really wasn't much. Priority, however, and I don't use Priority because I only use USPS Ground Advantage, or I use UPS 3-day or 2-day or 1-day. You do not have the option to use Priority in my shit. Period. You're not even allowed to use next day USPS. So anyway, where was I headed with that? I have no idea. It's early. So anyway, the price changes. So they raised their prices for everybody. The stamps went up. Everything went up for everybody. Like I said, it didn't really affect me. It doesn't seem. And yet, this is like a failing fucking agency, beyond failing, and they're getting more money from us. And I hope more people go to UPS, FedEx, DHL. I don't care. Like, fucking use your bicycle and, go 25 miles to mail something to somebody and avoid USPS. I want those people to go bank fucking rupt, because they are paying pensions to people, which is why they are so in debt. They have lost billions of dollars over the last few years. Billions. Every year, billions of dollars have lost money. Why? Because they're paying pensions. Why? Because DeJoy came up with this wonderful bullshit plan about upgrading USPS systems, like new machinery and sorting machinery and all this stupid shit that's supposed to help crap. Fuck you. None of it works, obviously. And St. Louis, honestly, the people, because I posted on Nextdoor, I was complaining about St. Louis hubs, and everybody obviously complains about USPS, but there was somebody on there that actually had a daughter that worked there who got hurt, and they had to end up paying her medical bills and stuff, and she's on leave. But she said her daughter told her, and I had this chick write it out to me, and I told her I was going to send it to Senator Schmidt, and I did. Her daughter said that there were people there working the forklifts that weren't certified, for one. She saw someone literally drive a forklift into the wall. Nothing happened. They just backed right up and moved on. Nobody questioned the hole in the wall. That there's mail spread all over the floor, especially letters, all over the floor. Packages are all over the place. And people are basically all high all day. So that's who USPS hires in St. Louis. Sorting facilities. So, high, can't run a forklift, have accidents, run into walls, can't keep the mail on the machinery, packages are spread everywhere. So if you get something like fucking a month late, that's why. Shit's just everywhere. And there's like other videos of other hubs, you know, circulating the internet and stuff. I think there's one in Minnesota that fucked up, that was on the internet, showing how bad their shit is too. So it's ridiculous. If you send something USPS, I guess be impressed, surprised, thankful, and that's about it. That you get whatever the hell got mailed to you. And if it's not broken, busted, shows up, whatever, just be shocked. Be absolutely shocked. Like, anytime I get my bills, I'm like, wow, they actually made it to my fucking house. But they misdeliver mail around here too, which is cool. Someone opened up my credit card statement, then sealed it, wrote on the, by the way, open the credit card statement. On the statement, it said, sorry for opening your mail. They wrote on the statement, sorry for opening your mail, put it back in the envelope, taped it, gave it back to USPS. They delivered it to me. I'm like, why is this taped? Opened it up, then I see a little sorry note. I'm like, well, I wonder who the fuck this was. My credit card number's sitting right there. And I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna leave this. Because you know why? That credit card's maxed out. Good luck paying for anything, bitch. So, yeah. That type of shit happens. They misdeliver, don't deliver, shit disappears. I'm sick of it. I'm absolutely sick of it. If there's an important order that's needs to get somewhere, I absolutely refuse to use USPS. People have to use UPS. And if it's an expense, like if it's over $100, say, I say you have to use UPS. And unfortunately, USPS is literally like a mile and a half from my house, and UPS is, on the other hand, like, I don't even know. I usually know this because I think it's like 6 miles away or something like that, because I do taxes and I have to do all the mileage. I think it's 6 or maybe it's 10. I don't remember which direction it is. One way, 6 or 10 miles, which is stupid because gas is expensive and I have to go there. And if I'm going there for one fucking order, it's really annoying. But I know that order will get there. And I won't be giving them a refund. And I won't be giving them a courtesy refund. So I guess you have to pick and choose your poison, I guess. Anyway, that's my rant on USPS. Sabacc. Star Wars. I love it.